So for today's video, I decided that since my last thrift flip video did really well and it got like a lot more views than I was expecting ever, so I'm gonna do another thrift flip video, but it's gonna be a little bit different, and I'm just gonna do one like thrift flip instead of like 5 ones I did last time, but it's gonna be like a really big thrift flip, and I've decided to do a bit of a patchwork denim dress kind of thing, which I'm very excited for. And I just thought the denim would be really fun to work with because you can get like all the different like shades of denim and it would like look really cool patchwork together. And also denim is like very accessible in all the charity shops, so if you guys wanted to make something like this at home, you can go out to the charity shops or the thrift shops or whatever and easily find denim, you know? So yesterday I actually started drafting my own pattern for this using my dress form. I will like put some clips in here and like kind of like talk you through it as well. So I need to make some alterations to that because it just didn't quite like the way it fit in like some places. So I'm going to make some alterations to the pattern. I'm going to hopefully make up like another like little mock-up as well. And then once I'm happy with that, I think I'm going to get down and start making the patchwork denim and like making it into a dress. I'm very excited. So yeah, I hope you guys like this one as well, as much as you did the other one.
So I'm still fairly new to drafting and draping my own patterns, so I'm just going to talk you guys through my process and like what I did. So I first started by drawing out a rough shape of what I wanted the bodice to look like using some tape. I actually used electrical tape for this because I am on a budget right now and I didn't want to have to buy some proper like, I think it's called like pattern tape or like drafting tape. I'm not entirely sure what it's called. But I didn't want to have to buy any, so I just rummaged through my dad's garage and found some electrical tape. So if you guys are also on a budget like me, you can just use some colourful tape or electrical tape if you have that lying around. Also, please don't judge what I'm wearing right now. I literally got back from an interview and I just wanted to put something comfy on and create stuff. So do not judge. Also, the reason why I do not really check in much in this video is because I've been feeling a bit sad recently because I recently got let go from my job. I was working at this fabric store and it was like the best job ever. But then she sold it and the owner that took over it didn't want to keep any of the staff on, so we all got let go. So now I'm looking for something else and I was very sad. So I didn't really check in as much. But you got voiceover Emily instead. Once I was happy with what the bodice was looking like, I then got some scrap fabric and I traced around the tape. This is why it has to be colourful. I traced around the tape. I first started with pencil, but then I moved on to pen because the pencil wasn't bright enough, so I changed to a pen so I could see it better. Once I traced around all my pieces, I then copied these onto some more scrap fabric, adding seam allowance. I started using seam allowance of about 1 inch, but then it just ended up being like way too much seam allowance. So in the future, I used half an inch seam allowance. Then I got to sewing my first mock-up, and the construction of the dress is actually fairly simple. It's just sewing all the panels together and then attaching that top bit with like the straps. I'm not quite sure what that top bit would be called. If you have any ideas, please let me know. And that was my first mock-up. I was pretty happy with it. There was some adjustments I wanted to make. There was way too much fabric in the skirt bit. There was just way too much volume there. And the straps were also quite tight under my armpit, so I wanted to add a little bit more length to the straps so that it wouldn't be so tight. I then made all these adjustments to my pattern pieces. And then I use these pattern pieces to create a second mock-up. This is where I actually use half an inch seam allowance and it's just way better. But I guess seam allowance is just whatever you feel, like what is like individual to each person. I then cut out all my pieces and sewed them together again. And obviously the construction is very much the same to the construction of the first mock-up. It was just sewing all the panels together. I put these right sides together, sewed them, and then pressed all the seams open. You guys never see me do any ironing, and that is for good reason, and that is because my ironing board is an absolute disgrace. Also, my little doggy says hi to you guys. So I ended up running out of the cotton calico fabric that I was using, which is a shame because the cotton calico had kind of like a stiffness like denim, whereas like the pink fabric was like a cotton and it was a bit more drapey. So I was worried that it would make the mock-up not like what the denim was actually going to look like. I'm pretty happy with how the second mock-up turned out. There was still just like a tad too much fabric in the back, but that was an easy fix. So I was quite happy to move on to the next step, which was cutting out all the denim from the denim jeans. I used about 4 or 5 denim jeans, but you can use denim jackets, overalls, shorts, anything with denim really. I tried to make all the denim 100% cotton. Use what the material is made out of to your advantage. So if it's made out of cotton, then it's going to be quite a stiff fabric, but then if it's got some of that elastic in it, it's going to be a bit stretchy, so you could make like a stretchy top or a stretchy pair of pants. I tried to be as economical as I could with these jeans. I did consider putting pockets on the dress, but I didn't in the end. And then I had to cut out all my pattern pieces on the denim, and I ended up having to add seam allowance because my pattern pieces did not have seam allowance on. So if you do this, make sure you add seam allowance to your pattern pieces. If not, then it's cool, because I also did that. So I decided to make each panel piece a different colour denim. Some of them obviously have the same colour, but I tried not to keep the same colour touching each other, if that makes sense. Not in like a weird way, but yeah. So this is what all the panel pieces were looking like. I think it was looking pretty cool. So now it's getting to actually sew them together, and I just did the same construction as with the 2 mock-up pieces. I sewed right sides together, I pressed all the seams. So I had like an idea, and I thought, why don't I try and do some top stitching, see if it looks cool. And I don't know if you can see, but I think it looks pretty cool. I think it adds like a nice little touch to the dress. So I think I'm gonna top stitch over all my seams now, which is gonna be more work for me, but I think it's gonna be worth it because it's gonna look really, really cool. And then, because I decided to add some top stitching, I just tripled my workload. And this is what the denim dress was looking like after sewing it all together. I still have to add a lining though. So this is the denim dress so far. I think it's really, really cool. I'm liking it a lot. It's just ever so slightly too big in the back, so I need to take like a couple inches off the back, but I might do that once I've done the lining, which is my next job, is to cut out all the lining pieces and then sew them together. I'm just doing the lining in white because this is what I've got in my scraps, so I'm going to start doing that, and then I need to attach it to this as well. So I made like another mistake with the lining. What I should have done once I'd cut out all the pieces in denim were like all the pieces with seam allowance in denim. I should have then used them to trace round and cut out of the lining fabric. But I did not. I got too excited and I sewed them all together. And then when it came to doing the lining pieces, I had to trace round the pattern pieces that didn't have seam allowance, then add 1/2 inch seam allowance to the lining piece, and then cut it out. And it was such like a tedious job, and it could have been saved by just thinking ahead. So don't be me, don't be stupid, be smarter, learn from my mistakes. Once I finished sewing the lining together, I then attached it to the actual denim dress. I just put wrong sides together and then sewed all the way around the neckline, and then flipped it right side out, and then sewed the outer seam of the strap that goes like under the armpit. Then once I'd finished that, I inserted the zipper, sewed up the 2 back seams, one for the lining and then one for the main fabric, and then got to hemming it. And I ran out of bobbin thread as I was hemming it, which was so annoying because it was literally the last step and I ran out of bobbin thread. Fucking fabulous. No! Bobbin ran out. It always happens when you're like either doing a really complicated bit or just about to finish. So the dress is done. I'm very happy with it. I love all the little details of it, like the top stitching, the different coloured like panels. There's the back.
I think it looks very cool. I like how like the denim is like quite a stiff material, so it kind of like holds its shape as well. It looks very cute. Sorry, I keep looking at myself in the mirror because I can't get over how cute this dress looks. If you are thinking about doing like a project with denim, highly recommend going to like the charity shop or the thrift shop and like using some denim from there. It's a great way to use up like what we already have that's been in the world. So yeah, I hope it's given you guys some inspiration, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.